hell? This is so weird. I have another person in the room. Hey guys. I'm just gonna be randomly laughing throughout this because now there's another person in the room and I'm so not used to this. But hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Not the Girl Next Door. I am your host, Meg Reynolds. And once again, we are not back in the normal studio. We are still in New York. And I know you guys are probably sick of me being away from home because that means I'm chaotic and all over the place and not on my shit for the podcast. But you know what? This time was very much needed. Obviously, I talked on the episode 2 weeks ago now, saying how I was taking this hiatus and just reevaluating some things in my life and big 27-year-old thoughts and feelings. We are at the end of this 3-week hiatus. Diva's back up, and I want to talk about it. Because the thing I've realized about being 27 is honestly just the equivalent of your junior year of high school. You are grown, you feel grown, and you feel like you know some things, but you still have so much more to learn, and you still have a whole other year of school to get through before your freedom happens. And as I'm approaching 30, that's just the only way I can describe this chapter of my life. You know, there's been a lot happening, and I know I've said that so many times this season, but it's true, and that is the epitome of what this has been like. So we're just going to kind of dive right into this. And weirdly, you guys know I take a trip home every single year. August always seems to be the time. And August and September are weirdly the months where big things happen for me. You know, 3 years ago, is the last time I got to see my grandfather. I came home to take care of him in his final weeks. And this time around, I went up to take care of my dad. He just has some heart stuff. And as you guys know, me and my dad have been reconnecting and doing all of that. And the thing I've learned with that and the thing it's shown me about my life is just how important it is to learn how to let people love you the way they know how to love. And I'm not saying that to excuse bad behavior. You guys know I will never condone that. But a big piece of me reconnecting with my dad and why this is tying into my feelings is for so long I kept saying, like, he's never going to be the dad that I deserve, which is true. My dad doesn't know how to love properly, per se. But through me softening myself and learning how to let go of some of my resentments and anger, I've really seen how in his old age, as he's not even 60 yet, but like he's slowing down a lot. He had some heart stuff, but I'm learning how to let him in a way that feels safe, but also makes him feel part of my life. And the more I do that, the more I can actually see how much it means to him. And so even though I only had a few days upstate with him to kind of like take care of him and just reconnect, it really showed me how he's just softened and he's really trying to be in touch with his emotions, like how he's really trying to listen to me and really trying to get to know me, his daughter, for the adult woman that I am and not the little girl he remembers. And it's funny, like a little piece of this is growing up. So you guys know I'm into needlepoint right now. We're having a huge segue, but bear with me. I'm super into needlepoint. I found this needlepoint canvas that's a sun, and I'll throw a picture of it on the screen. It looks almost identical to this sun that my dad made for me when I was a child. He like plastered it in my childhood bedroom. It was beautiful and on my wall. So when we were selling the house, he cut it out. He plastered it. He built this sauna at his house upstate. He has now plastered that sauna into the wall so that a piece of me is always there upstate with him. And like, again, as much as my dad doesn't know how to express love in the way that I would like, he's trying. Oh my God, I did not expect to cry at that. This is even more embarrassing that I'm crying over that because now there's another person in the room to witness me cry. Motherfucker. Anyways, I digress. So all of that to say is something that I've learned from my dad and something that I'm just learning in general at 27 is you have to ask yourself if you're proud of the person you are or if you're just proud of the person that you show to the world. And what I mean by that is if you're just proud of your accomplishments and your achievements and you're just proud of the things you put out. Because I think when we talk about obviously pride is a weird, touchy subject, but when we say like, what are we proud of about ourselves and what do we love about ourselves? A lot of people automatically deflect to their achievements. I'm so proud that I graduated college and I got this degree. I started this company, blah, 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 blah. And those are wonderful things to be proud of, right? I'm proud of the fact that I've toured with numerous country artists and I've started my own business. And in 2 years, I've gotten to travel the world, taking photographs and doing all these wonderful, amazing things. I'm proud of this podcast that I've built it up from the ground with zero, not knowing what the fuck I'm doing. But none of those achievements tell you guys about the person that I am. The person that I am and the things that I'm proud of about myself are how big I love, how big my heart is, how emotional I get. Okay. And for so long, those were things that I felt like I couldn't be proud of and parts of myself that I felt I had to hide. And weirdly, as I've gotten older, I'm going to sound like really bitchy for saying this, but part of me feels really bad for people who don't know how to be emotional, who don't know how to let people in and show them their emotions. Like the emotional avoidance of the world, I do feel bad for in a way because I think being in touch, and again, it sounds so cunty and like a bitch for me to say that. And I don't mean it in a condescending way. I just mean it. It's sad that people don't feel safe with their own emotions because I think you're robbing yourself of a really beautiful piece of life. Life has gotten so much better for me when I stopped running from my emotions, even when I'm screaming, crying, crashing out. My dog is like, what is wrong with my mother? That's part of the human experience. Heartbreak is a part of the human experience. And it makes you appreciate and all the rest of it. And so my big heart, it's one of the things that I am most proud of myself. I'm proud of the way that I love my friends and I love people. I'm proud of the way that I show up in my creativity. Like those are things that tell you about yourself. So you have to ask yourself, am I actually proud of the person that I am? And if you're not, if you don't know how to answer that question, start journaling about it. You guys know I'm a huge, huge fan of journaling. And, with all that is when you're only proud of your output, you're not living your life for yourself. Your life is not yours if you're only living it for other people. If you're only living it because you care about what others think, you're only living it for social media's highlight reel. And I get that a lot lately when I share things on my social. Someone responded to one of my stories and he was like, I just love your life. Your life looks so fun. Yes, my life is very fun. Yes, I am grateful for it. But it's still a highlight reel. Like it's not real. It's curated. These are things I'm actually doing, but you're not seeing the back end of everything that went into getting to where that's at today. And so to people who say like, "Oh, I love her life," or if you're looking at your favorite influencer and you're like, "Oh, I love their life," if you knew everything that they went through, all the heartbreak, the trauma, would you still love their life? Would you still feel like that life was worth it? Would you still want it? And so, the grass isn't always greener, guys. Like your grass is not going to get any greener, but if you continue to water other people's and like care how green theirs is. But with all that, something else too that's been coming up this year is I talked about this for the people that are new here and for my lovely producer who's in the room. We all know this podcast started out of a very diabolical man who, of course, his name started with a J because all the men, the worst men in the world, their names start with a fucking J. And last year, that man, he was ahead of the curve with this part of the podcast I'm going to talk about. He sent me an email, and then that just started a series of domino effects of all the men in my life trying to come back in simultaneously this year. It was this era of 2021 to 2023, hot mess Meg just wanted, again, I thought I was healed. I fucking wasn't. Wanting to be in a relationship so badly. And so my ex was ahead of the curve with his email. He should just send me another one so we can add him to this list. 5 different men from my early 20s this year in the past 6 months have come back into my life or tried to in one way or another. And it's funny because I look at each and every one of them and I just can't help but laugh because back then I was so hung up on them, so hung up on why aren't they choosing me? Like, how can we make this work? Oh, they're a good guy, but it's just not working. And again, in my late 20s now, I just look at them like, yeah, this was never going to be it. This was never going to be my person. And a lot of them have not changed as much as they think that they have. I mean, sure, yes, new jobs, they've upgraded their finances, moved apartments, grown some facial hair maybe. But like in terms of their emotional avoidance, they haven't done the work. And it just goes to show that you can stay with a man for years and years and years until he chooses to do the actual work on his emotions. It's not going to work. No amount of him locking in and leveling up and, oh, when I just get my money right, then I'll be able to be a good boyfriend. No, he's not, until he chooses to reflect inwards. Because once again, that's all that external bullshit. And that's what I'm saying. Like, hell, one of them even bought like a fucking $1 million home on the water in Long Island. And he still is so emotionally avoidant. I haven't seen him since 2021, my birthday. So my 23rd birthday was the last time I saw him. And we had a conversation. We stayed up until 2 in the morning talking. And normally you would romanticize that shit, right? Like, oh my God, we had this night of staying up till 2 in the morning. We had such a heart, blah, blah. No, not romanticizing it, but for the point of the story, we were up till 2 in the morning. I learned more about that man in that one night than in the entire, I've known him since I was 20 years old. So in the entire 7 years, actually, technically I've known him since high school, but we're not going to get into that story today. But he still hasn't changed. And I could see when we were talking, he looked at me, he goes, this is so uncomfortable for me to talk about my emotions. Bro, you're fucking 32 and you can't talk about your emotions. It makes me sad. Like, it just makes me sad for him because, again, all the money in the world is not going to solve the fact that you are avoiding your emotions. Younger Meg, she would have, anytime one of these men came back, would have given them another chance, would have spiraled all over again, would have crashed out and been like, why am I still not enough? That's not the point. The point is it was never about me. It was always about them, always about it not being the right connection. And that's why I always say right person, wrong time doesn't really exist, in my opinion, because it's been 5 years. If they were the right person, it can't still be the wrong time. Like they would have, what makes somebody the right person is the fact that they have done the work on themselves and you've done the work on yourselves and you guys meet at that right time. So even if it's someone you knew in your early 20s, time does not necessarily make people change. They have to cognizantly make that change. And so when I look at my early 20s Meg, part of me misses her because she was just naive in almost the sweetest way. And what I mean by that is, again, I was an anxious fucking mess, but there's a part of me that misses that part of my life, but I don't want to be her again. And it's simply because there was a certainty back then about where my life was going to go. Nothing has come to pass that I thought was going to be the direction of my life. I mean, hell, I always swore up and down I would never want to move back to New York. That was like my monikers. I don't understand why people would move back to New York. I don't know why people would go to New York. Like, get me the fuck out of there. I couldn't get out of here fast enough. But now here I am. The further and further, the more I go down this path, right? And the more I'm shedding the expectations I had of myself, the more confusing and freeing it is at the same time. And part of the work that I'm doing now and part of these 3 weeks being home is me learning how to just be bad at things, because I didn't realize how I was never allowed to be bad at things growing up. Like this is where a lot of my anxiety comes from, my perfectionism comes from is, if I got an A minus, why wasn't it an A? Why wasn't it an A plus? If I got a B plus, why wasn't it an A? Like, oh, this is great, but like, here's what you could change about it. Everything was always critiqued and always could be better, which I understood where, again, my parents, mainly my father, were coming from that of like wanting to motivate me, whatever. But what all that really did was create a really fucking anxious mess of a child. And so in my adulthood, I am learning how to be bad, how to fail, how to mess up. Not on purpose, but like just accepting those blows as they come. And it's showing up now. Again, there's been a lot of failures of this podcast over the years. November will be our 5 years, and a lot of people would say I'm a failure because I haven't hit 1 million followers yet, or I don't have management yet, or it's not the thing that makes me money yet. And to that I say, fuck you. You're wrong. Because one, you should never let anybody define your success. And two, what I have built may not be viral, but it's a community. And the fact that we have done this solo and the fact that I still to this day edit, record everything on my own, aside from today's episode, thank you to my amazing producer who's here, but I'm proud of that. And so learning how to be proud of the things that other people would be deemed failures is, I think, another piece of what I've been learning on this 3-week hiatus. Part of this hiatus too, bang the microphone. Part of this hiatus too is the whole portion of being offline, right? Like I haven't really been posting. I've kind of just largely been not on my phone, and I feel more creatively alive than I have felt in a long time. Like I had a shoot, my very first Manhattan shoot yesterday, actually, also super exciting. And that was the first shoot in a very long time where I was actually nervous, like genuinely heart in my ass, kind of wanted to throw up on my way to this shoot, nervous. And I was texting my manager about it. And she was like, but this is good. She was like, when was the last time you were nervous for a shoot? She was like, this is exactly what you needed. And she was right. What made it a little more nerve-wracking is the fact that it was my manager's best friend who was the shoot was for. So a little bit added layer of pressure there. But it's reminded me that life happens offline. Life happens outside of your bedroom. Life happens not when you're bed rotting on your couch. It's important to, yes, have those moments of rest. But when you realized you are just more worried about capturing something for social media versus actually living in the moment, I think that's a problem, right? And I think this is why I am kind of the world's worst influencer. I hate that word influencer, but like I'm kind of the world's worst content creator in that ways because I don't want to do my day in the life and have to immediately post it that night. Like I filmed a vlog for when I was in Jackson Hole at the end of July. Ask me if I've edited that yet. No, because I've been wanting to live in the moment and actually have this hiatus. So in that way, I am the world's worst content creator, but it's fine because I didn't want to live that trip and document it for social media. I wanted to live that trip and document it for myself, for, to have that to look back on. When you're getting stuck in these negative thought loops and thought patterns like I was, that is your sign that you need to start living life offline a little bit more, truthfully. And when you're stuck in these negative thought loops, I kind of started calling it my council of cunts. Like they're just straight up assholes. They are my number one haters. And it's not cunty in the good way. They're just straight up cunts. And part of these negative thought loops is more than likely you're needing certainty of something, right? And certainty is what is making you spend more time thinking about what you're going to do than actually doing the thing that you said you were going to do. And the problem with that is you don't need to be certain of anything other than yourself. You're never going to have 100% certainty, not in love, not in your career, not in just anything in life. Nothing is certain other than the fact that you're going to fucking die one day. Okay. Only thing that's certain. But you don't get certainty before you actually make the decision to do something. What you need is about, I would say 60% certainty, maybe 70. But we'll call it 65. We'll call it 65. We'll split the difference. 65% certainty, 35% audacity, and just like a little dash of courage to just fucking do whatever it is you said you were going to do. I don't know if that math is right. Anything after 2 + 2 = 4, I'm just not a great math person. This is why I have an accountant. Someone can tell me if that math is wrong, but you guys get my point. You're never going to be 100% certain about anything in your life. Also, with certainty too, this is the other piece of it, is certainty isn't the thing that builds trust, right? Because with certainty and trust are almost kind of like oil and water. Because when you're giving, trust is about faith. It's not about knowing 100%. And you can do everything right in love, right? You could have read all the books, done all the therapy, everything, and someone could still break your heart. And even if you had 100% trust in them. Take my last relationship, for example. I never was able to trust in that relationship, but the times that I was most certain of in that relationship are the times that I chose myself. The times I was like, what he is like when he's asking me to pick him or my friends, or, picking a fight about the fact that I was going home for a holiday and he wasn't coming with me, even though I invited him, whatever. Like all the times that I chose myself and trusted myself over trying to make certain that I wasn't going to get hurt in this relationship are the times that it paid off the most. And so I think your need for certainty sometimes is what's robbing you of life in a way. So sometimes it's not about your capacity to just kind of like push through things. I think this is often advice that we see nowadays is just lock in, just push yourself, no breaks, da da da. Sometimes you just need a higher tolerance for uncertainty, not a higher tolerance for just pushing through on things. Because when you need certainty, especially in your late 20s, right? You're watching everybody in your life. It's like, what was that game we would play as a kid? I guess I guess it was tag. There was a different game than Try Friends. Anyways, it's like you're playing a game of tag, right? And you're watching all of your friends run in all these different directions. And instead of just picking a direction and running after that person to try and tag them, you're just planting your feet in the ground and you're just not moving because you're so overwhelmed. And so that's what your need for certainty does to you sometimes, is it honestly just paralyzes you in place. And that's what was happening to me. And that's part of what led to me needing this break and needing this hiatus, is because I just got so overwhelmed with my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own need for certainty, that it kept me paralyzed and I just literally could not pick something and start working on it. And so that's why I'm saying you don't need 100% certainty. If anything, you need 60% certainty and a whole lot of bravery, just because there's never going to be a surefire answer. There's always going to be a risk with every single thing. I'm not saying you need to be impulsive and just like rip the band-aid off. You can think things through. I don't consider myself an impulsive person by any means, but the times in my life where something has paid off the most is the times where I didn't feel 100% certain about that decision. Example, moving to Nashville. But with this too, you guys know I have this crock pot microwave relationship theory. And I talk about that in terms of relationships a lot, how the best relationships are not the ones that were put in a microwave and you met, you started dating, and you sped through all of the steps of forming a lasting relationship. The best ones are like a crock pot meal. They took time, they were a slow burn. And that metaphor, honestly, is applicable to a lot of things in life, most things in life. You're basically, when you are trying to have a microwave life, you are robbing yourself of the true experiences and the true growth, and honestly robbing yourself of self-discovery because you're trying to skip to the ending. It's like when you get a book and you just want to read the end chapter. I don't know if anybody else did that. Sometimes I did that growing up, where I just kind of wanted to read the last page of a book and then see if I could guess the ending as I was reading the book, knowing the last page, which I don't know why I did that. But your need for certainty in life, it's not about curiosity. It's not about actually learning things. It's about proving something to yourself. And it's about the reward of whatever the situation is, whether it's getting a promotion, getting, that apartment, all whatever it is. But the pressure is always going to just mount to build resistance in you. And it's eventually just going to drain you. You guys have seen that with me. But something else with life too is talking about the difference between certainty and clarity. Because you want clarity about your life. Certainty isn't what you need. Certainty is an emotional need for a predictable outcome. It's an outcome you're trying to basically avoid fear. Clarity is simply just an open state of mind based on facts to help you take the next step. So, certainty, it's demanding you know exactly the outcome, the final result, how everything's going to look. Clarity is what helps you focus on your current direction and immediately take that next step. So the next time you're finding yourself getting caught in this cycle of needing certainty, I need you to shift your thinking about what it is that you're actually looking for. This is why, too, it's easy to talk about this topic in terms of relationships, because that's the big common theme of why dating sucks nowadays is everyone, so many options. You want to feel 100% certain that this is the one. You're never going to have that. But clarity is knowing, hey, this person and I are aligned. Let's see where this thing can go. So to put it plainly, your need for certainty is 100% part of the reason why you're feeling stuck in life. And once you figure out what it is that you're needing clarity on, the direction you want to go, that is what's going to help propel you forward. And that's kind of what I took these 3 weeks home to do. Is I did a whole lot of journaling. Okay. I did a whole lot of couch rotting, a whole lot of thinking, but thinking in the sense of, what do I actually want? Like, what do I think is missing? Instead of just trying to play the comparison game of, oh, how do I get to do what this person is doing? Like, if you're stuck in the need for certainty loop, put your phone down, get offline, stop doom scrolling. Like, I think part of why, too, so many people feel like they're questioning themselves constantly is because they're constantly looking outwards at well, we're the same age. This person's doing this, but I'm doing this. So am I doing things wrong? There's no one correct way to do life. All right. There is no correct path. And that's not groundbreaking advice. I know that, but it's really hard to actually internalize that lesson, especially when you get to this stage of your late 20s. Like, I'm up here, I was here celebrating my best friend's engagement party. Okay. I've got another one who her and her fiance buying a house. Like, but I have another friend who's traveling the world and she's so happy being single and she's in her 30s and she's like, I don't think I ever want to get married. Okay. And I can sit and look at that, and each and every person, yes, they have an aspect of life that I would want, but you can't cherry pick, oh, okay, I want this from this person and this from that person. You can't cherry pick these things about life. You always have to take the bad with the good. And I would not trade the bad of my life for anything. And I know that sounds, very cliche to say, but it's all got me here. And while 27 is a very weird age, I know I still have more to learn. And the other thing too I've realized about, like, if I have to describe what it feels like to be in your late 20s, it would be that feeling of you walk into a room, forget why you went into that room in the first place, and then you kind of just like stand there for a minute or two looking around questioning, what did I come in here for? What did I need to get? Like, over and over and over again. Because what I wanted for my life has changed drastically in the past, honestly, 3 weeks, okay? I've made a lot of decisions about where I wanna go and what do I wanna do because I took the time to actually sit with myself, not worry about what other people would think about my decisions, not worry about, "Okay, well, then this kind of changes everything I've already been working towards." Like, I don't care. You can change your mind at any time. That's the beauty of being an adult with adult money, is you have the freedom of choice. And I know that's simplistic to say, and it's easier said than done to just up and make some of these decisions, but I think people don't give themselves enough credit in the sense of you have a lot more control over your life than you realize. Like, yes, you can constantly make excuses as to why you can't do something, you can't move, you can't quit that job, blah, 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 blah. But I firmly believe that there is a will, there is a way. And any path that you want in life is not going to be easy. It's not going to just drop in your lap and you're going to say, cool, thanks, God, like, or whatever you believe. You know, it's hard work. And I think people give up way too easily. Again, prime example, look at this podcast. Most people would have given up after, hell, even 1 year, and they didn't see the growth that they wanted. The best people, the people who are the best at what they do and the people who achieve the life that they want, it's because they are able to keep on their own path, but they also are building something because they love doing it, because they genuinely want it. If you're struggling to build something, I would argue probably you're building it for the wrong reasons, and you're probably building it for some sort of external approval and validation instead of just being connected with yourself. And so the biggest thing of all that I've learned in these past 3 weeks is my peace and my ambition, they are not oil and water like I thought, right? I don't need to sacrifice my peace for the sake of my ambitions, and my ambitions should not be costing me my peace. You don't have to choose. Your peace is not something that you need to be earning through struggling and burning yourself out and all these things. Like, you're allowed to have rest. You're allowed to have softness in your life. And I hate describing myself as a soft person because of the connotations of that and everything going on in today's world of, oh, she's in her soft feminine, all that bullshit. You guys know I hate that shit. What I'm saying is, though, like, it's okay to be, you know, calm and have moments of rest. And, for me, I love my needlepoint. I love my little hobbies and my alone time. If you want to bake sourdough in your kitchen, be my fucking guest. Like that, if that's what brings you peace, great. But you don't have to choose between that and building whatever it is you want to build. For me, I'm building my business up in New York, and hopefully we'll be moving back here in the coming years. But I'm not going to build it if it's going to cost me my sense of calm, because I want to enjoy the journey. You're allowed to look towards your future and say, I'm so excited to get to X, Y, and Z place, but I'm happy with where I'm at right now. I'm content with where I'm at right now, because I think so often we're in such a rush to grow up. I know I was. And for anyone who's listening who's, whether you're in college, your early 20s, hell, even your mid 20s, don't be in such a rush to grow up. I think if I had one regret from my younger years, it would be that, because I robbed myself. Yes, I had a lot of mental health struggles, but there was a lot that I robbed myself of by being in that rush. And especially nowadays with the state of social media, like today's teenagers, if they had access to Tumblr like it was back in 2013, 2014, I think all hell would break loose. I would argue that was so much worse than the internet today, because also Yik Yak, I don't know if that's still around, but like those apps made me feel like I needed to grow up way quicker than I needed to. And social media today makes kids think that they need to grow up. There's no place for children anymore in the world, I think, in the sense of there's no kid shows, there's no, kid idols, tween idols like we had. And it's sad to see like kids not able to just be kids, teenagers not be able to just be teenagers, be cringe, be weird. Like people are robbing themselves of personality development, I think. And I think that's why it's so hard for me sometimes to just be silly, goofy, lighthearted, carefree, because I put myself in that box for so long, and now it's really uncomfortable to get out of that. And it's really uncomfortable to let certain parts of myself be seen, because I was for so long told I'm annoying, I'm too much, I'm this, I'm that, the other thing. Like, don't rob yourself of those parts of your personality, because at the end of the day, too, like that's just who you are. It is. And if you are in such a rush to grow up, and if you kind of force yourself to live for the sake of other people and perform life, you're going to lead yourself to feel lost. And if you're going to sit there questioning, who am I? What kind of person I am? Like, you're never going to actually get to know yourself. And that is something that I did for a long time. And we all know that's been part of the podcast journey, is me figuring out who I am and who I want to be. And I I feel like as much as I've done that, there's still so much about myself that I'm getting to know. And that's okay. I think I'm going to spend the rest of my life getting to know myself, my personality, what I want. It's going to change another 5 times over. And that's okay, because I don't think we are meant to live just one life. And something else I've been thinking about too is how this whole idea that you can't have it all. I think where people go wrong is you absolutely can have it all. You can achieve every single thing you want in life, but you don't have to have it all at exactly the same time. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be mothers and businesswomen and girl boss, do this, that, the other thing. Like, you don't have to live everything all exactly at the same time. You can have different chapters of your life. I did, you know, one of my dreams was always to do hosting on country carpets, and, well, not necessarily country, but like on red carpets, and work for run a big social media account. I did that in my early 20s. It was great. It was fabulous. Do I want to go back to it? No, kind of been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You know, I lived that life and that chapter ended, and that's okay. You don't have to live all of your dreams all the time exactly 24/7. It's just, you can't, one, you're not going to enjoy it. And two, you're probably not going to be as good at it as you can be, because you're spreading yourself too thin. And that's another lesson that I have learned, is how to just pick a couple of things that I want to focus on at a time, be really good at them, go all in on them. And when I've gotten what I needed, move on to the next thing. But that is pretty much, what I think being home has taught me about myself, the things that oh my God, I need to stop hitting this fucking microphone. It's just, this 3-week hiatus home has been one of the most peaceful times I've felt all year. And it's shown me a lot about how far I've come to. Because again, going back to the shit with the guys, in the past, again, I would have jumped at the chance to get back with any of them, because, oh my God, somebody's choosing me. I feel chosen. I feel great. I actually diabolically had something happen the other day with a new man. This could have been, I can't believe I didn't tell this story yet. I'm going to tell this story, and then we'll be wrapping the episode. So you guys know I went to Italy last summer for the first time. Coming home from Italy, I met a man in the airport. We all dream of that, right? Like we have this meet cute in the airport. We were on the same connecting flight to our layovers. He was carrying my bags for me. Like we had lunch together. We got on our layover and then we got to our individual flights. We said goodbye, never spoke again. Literally only knew his first name and that he was from Long Island also. That's how we started chit-chatting because Long Island knows Long Island. And this was the typical most Long Island douchebag, Italian looking man. Like his picture probably would have been in the dictionary of what a Long Island douchebag looks like. Anyways, I am on Hinge in Hoboken because I told myself I'd start dating up here. And surprise, surprise, I see the man. And I go, aren't you the guy I met in the Italy airport last year? And he was like, oh my God, hey, how are you? Turns out he lives in Hoboken. Oh my God, this is like the meet cute rom-com, someone to call book talk of my dreams. We're texting. He wants to go get drinks. We're talking about getting drinks. Well, all of a sudden, this man hits me with trying to get me to come over and watch a movie. And I'm like, I'm stoned on my couch with my best friend and we are needle pointing. My ass is not getting up right now. And this man hits me with I just need to read the text word for fucking word because it's truly diabolical. And he goes, it won't take long. And I know you want some. And by the way, he spelled some, S-U-M. I simply just responded, not taking too long is not a brag, because what the actual fuck? But again, in the past, my early 20s, the second this man is like, please, I really want to see you, I would have dropped everything to go over there and said, fuck my friend, and like, done it. We all would have done it. All of us girls would have. But that is on growth. And unfortunately, the man ruined what could have been the very cute story. So diabolical. But all that to say is you don't realize how much you have grown and changed until the opportunity presents itself to prove that you have grown and changed. And that's why I'm saying too, when it comes to healing, like you're never going to be 100% healed. Your triggers are going to still come up. Situations, you're going to feel like you're getting deja vu. What shows you've changed is how you react, how you grow, how you've learned from the mistakes. Do you ditch your friends and go to see a diabolical man again? You don't? Congrats, you've grown and changed and learned. But I had to tell that story because it was so diabolical. Again, add that to the list of really diabolical things men have said to me. I swear I tell my friends these stories and they're like, only you. Only this shit only happens to you. And it's true. It only does happen to me. But all of that to say, just because a man comes back does not mean he's the one and it was right person, wrong time. He could still be the same exact person you are. No, he could still be the same exact person that he was. And all he's going to do is show you how much you have grown and changed and how much you've raised your standards. And so if you are experiencing that, congratulations, you've escaped some lifelong misery. Just kidding. Not lifelong, but like a little bit. Let this be a reminder that life is supposed to be fun. Life should be full of joy. You don't need to earn moments of joy through suffering. Your peace does not need to be earned through suffering, through these long, grueling hours. You don't need this chip on your shoulder and your whatever it is. Like, life is meant to be fun. Life is meant to be a series of unfortunate events, to have stupid stories to tell your friends that you can all laugh about it. Life is sometimes about just beating the dead horse and reminiscing on those times that you were a complete and utter dumbass. And that's okay. And I hope that me being a dumbass makes you guys learn something because it can't all be for nothing. Okay? But with that being said, that is all for this week's episode of Not the Girl Next Door. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review wherever you're Make sure you leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Not the Girl Next Door Podcast. Still working on getting that Substack up and loading. So once that's available, I will share that with you guys. And stick around because we've got some really exciting projects in the works, some really exciting guests that are hopefully going to come on this season. And I will see you guys next week for another episode. Bye for now.